right, 49. But as soon as I perceived that I was in possession of the favor of the court and that I had secured ground for defense because I had both conciliated the good feeling of the people whose rights I had maintained even in conjunction with sedition, and had brought over the whole feeling of the judges to our side of the question, either from their concern for the calamity of the public or from grief or regret for their relations or from their own individual aversion to capo, I then began to intermix with the vehement and ardent style of oratory, that other species of which I discoursed before, full of lenity and mildness, saying that I was contending for my companion in office, who, according to the custom of our ancestors, ought to stand in relation to me as one of my children, and for almost my whole reputation and fortunes. That nothing could possibly happen more dishonorable to my character or more bitterly adapted to give pain to me than if I, who was reputed to have been oftentimes the preservation of those who were entire strangers to me, but yet my fellow citizens, should not be able to assist an officer of my own. I requested of the judges to make this concession to my age, to the honors which I had attained, to the actions which I had performed, if they saw that I was affected with a just and tender sorrow, and especially if they were sensible that in other causes I had asked everything for my friends in peril, but never anything for myself. Thus, in the whole of that defense and cause, the part which seemed to depend on art, the speaking on the Appuleian law and explaining what it was to commit treason, I skimmed and touched upon as briefly as possible. But by the aid of these two parts of eloquence, to one of which belongs the excitement of the passions, to the other recommendation to favor, parts not at all fully treated in the rules in books on the art, was the whole of that cause conducted by me. So that in reviving the popular displeasure against capo, I appeared to be a person of the keenest acrimony, and in speaking of my behavior towards my friends, to be of the most humane disposition. In this manner, rather by exciting the passions of the judges than by informing their understandings, was your accusation Sulpicius at the time overthrown by me. 50. In good truth, Antonius, interposed Sulpicius, you recall these circumstances to my memory with justice, since I never saw anything slip out of any person's hands as that cause then slipped out of mine. For whereas, as you observed, I had given you not a cause to plead, but a flame to extinguish. What a commencement was it, immortal gods, that you made! What timidity was there! What distrust! What a degree of hesitation and slowness of speech! But as soon as you had gained that by your exordium, which was the only thing that the assembly allowed you as an excuse, namely that you were pleading for a man intimately connected with you and your own quaestor, how quickly did you secure your way to a fair audience below? When I thought that you had reaped no other benefit than that the hearers would think they ought to excuse you for defending a pernicious citizen on account of the ties of union betwixt you, you began to proceed gradually and tactfully, while others had as yet no suspicion of your designs, though I myself felt some apprehension to maintain your defense that what had happened was not sedition in Norbanus, but resentment on the part of the Roman people, resentment not excited unjustly, but deservedly and in conformity with their duty. In the next place, what argument did you omit against Capo? How did you confound all the circumstances of the case by allusions to hatred, ill will, and compassion? Nor was this the case only in your defense, but even in regard to Scarius and my other witnesses, whose evidence you did not confute by disproving it, but by having recourse to the same impetuosity of the people. When those circumstances were mentioned by you just now, I felt no desire for any rules of instruction, for the very demonstration of your methods of defense, as stated by yourself, I regard as no ordinary instruction. But if you are so disposed, says Antonius, I will tell you what maxims I adopt in speaking, and what I keep principally in view, for a long life and experience in important affairs have taught me to discern by what means the minds of men are to be moved.